Hello, and welcome to another episode of Naked Turner. Today I'm going to be turning a small baby rattle, and I've tried to shoot this a couple times, but unfortunately the parts have not worked out that well, so hopefully this time they will work out. I am making this for my granddaughter, and she will be, she's going to be a couple months old here, coming up in a couple days, so just thought I'd try to get on making a baby rattle. This will be my third attempt. So, okay, so here I have 4 pieces of maple, which I milled down to 5/8 of an inch by about 9 inches long, maybe a little over 9.5 inches long. Then I made 4 marks here, which is, these marks will be in the center when I go to put these 4 pieces back together. But first, I'm going to tape these ends together and make that nice and tight, and then I'll bring my tailstock in and clamp that into my tailstock using my cup tail, which will kind of grab into all 4 pieces. But first I'm going to tape that together to make it a little tighter. Okay, so now I have it taped up and my tailstock brought in with my cup block so that it's grabbing all 4 pieces, or my cup end I should say, on the tailstock. So it's grabbing all 4 pieces, and these 4 pieces of maple I'm now going to turn out a little semicircle. Let's see, which end do I want to do this at? Probably this end. I'll turn out a little semicircle out of part of this, and that will kind of make a little cage area for the this rattle, which I'm going to put a small marble or ball in, a wooden ball. So, alright, start doing this now. Okay, so I just made this mark as a reference point, show me kind of the shape that I'm going to be trying to make, and then I transferred straight lines all the way around all the sides so that as it's spinning I can see those marks and try to start and stop at those locations. Alright, so let's start turning. Yeah, I've got it on nice and slow right now. I'm going to turn it up a little, and you can see where my 2 start and stop lines are, so that gives me an indication of where I want to go to. Before you take it apart, sand just that interior edge down, like so. And then, while you're at it, the next thing to do is to go ahead and give that some finish. So, let me put a little bit of finish on that. So, I'm just going to put a little of this. I don't want to get too much past this area that I just hollowed because I'm going to be gluing those other surfaces together. So I want to make sure I keep the finish just on these surfaces. That's good. So now I'll pull it apart and show you the next step. These pieces, and what I'm going to be doing now is turning these, each one, keeping it in the same location, but turning them 180 degrees so that all of my indicator marks are pointed towards each other, just like that. And then what that'll give me is this small cage area where the rattle will be located. Okay, so I chucked up a piece of PurpleHeart and I turned this little marble here on the end, and now I'm about to put a little bit of finish on it. go. There it is. And I'll have this little nub here to sand off. Alright, and there you have it. Little PurpleHeart marble. Okay. Alright, so here's the little marble. And it's going to sit in here. This will flip on like this. And then that marble goes inside of that little cage. So now what I'm going to do is epoxy this up, glue it together. I sanded the two surfaces so that it'll fit nice and tight. And then this will be the baby rattle. Alright, I'll check back in once the glue's set up and I have it rechecked back into my lathe. Okay, so here it is clamped up. It's going to take about a half an hour to cure. So I will let that cure up and then come back and turn this down. And I'll show you that process. Okay, so the piece is all glued up. And I'm now starting to rough this into shape. And I'm just doing that with my round nose scraper. Okay, so move my tool rest. I'm going to do a little bit of sanding right in this area. Just kind of odd because this epoxy should have been fully cured, but for some reason this thing's trying to open up right on those seams, and that kind of sucks. I'm going to have to do a little bit more gluing and then I will check back in. So I put some epoxy on here down into the cracks, and now I'm just kind of slowly clamping it. I loosened my tailstock a little because it was compressing this and opening up the gaps, and I think that's kind of how those glue joints separated. I maybe had a little bit too much pressure on my tailstock. So anyway, I loosened that up, and now I'm just doing a tape clamp. I took and used a mat knife blade and forced epoxy down into the cracks, then loosened the tailstock, and it smushed the glue out. And now I'm hoping that by doing a little tape clamp on this, making sure my tailstock is totally no pressure on, pushing in on the end to expand this out. So there we go. Hopefully in about a half an hour or so that will be cured up, and I can go back to finishing this unit off. Alright, there we go. Okay, so I have the maple rattle with the piece of, what is that again? PurpleHeart. I have the PurpleHeart marble inside. I just had the problem where it split open. I re-epoxied this, and it looks like it's doing pretty well. So I reduced some of the pressure, the tailstock tension that was kind of bulging these sticks open. And so now I have done a little additional sanding. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shape the handle down a little bit and get it maybe a little bit smaller in this area for the baby's hands, and then have a fairly wide end down here, just kind of as an anti-slip little pommel on the end. And once I And then I will also remove some of the sharpness on these interior edges. I'll go in there and sand each one of these surfaces out, and then I will put an edible finish on it. And I'll check back in when I get ready to do the rest of the shaping here. Ready to part that off of there.
Right there?
What's that?
You're gonna slice it right there?
Yeah, I'll slice it here and up here. And actually I may need to leave a little bulb up on top too, or something like that.
Yeah. Well, you could turn the bottom into a base so it could stand up, right?
I probably won't turn the bottom into a base. Okay, so I have this piece chucked in here, and I'm gonna widen out just a hair, and I'm gonna do the actual final parting of this right now. It's gonna be ready to pull out of here. Hopefully I don't blow it apart. Everything's locked off, and I'm gonna shape this first. The finish right there. Okay, so there it is, the finished product. Finished baby rattle with a, this is maple, like I said earlier, with a PurpleHeart ball or PurpleHeart marble there in the middle. Turned out really nice. Very happy. And I think my granddaughter will like it too.